Ladies and gentlemen, you are the true nuclear weapon that the government is declaring war on to. It's not other countries, I promise you. When it comes to this passage, ladies and gentlemen, I will be breaking down this passage using different scientific branches such as quantum physics, physics, metaphysics, chemistry, and I would say also neuroscience as well. Ladies and gentlemen, now, when it comes to, I would say, metaphysics, the explanation to us being the true people that the government imposed war on to secretly, rather than them blaming it on other countries because they got a fucking treaty with each other and they're all coming together to shit on us and to destroy us. I typed in a simple search in Google. I said, does our body heat alter technology? They said yes, body heat can alter the functions of technology in several ways, primarily affecting the performance and the lifespan of components like batteries, and conversely by being harnessed as a suitable power source for specialized devices. So basically what the fuck that means is, in layman's term, is that our body heat literally affects technology in the sense where when it comes to trauma, and this is adding a metaphysics component to this passage, while of course adding quantum physics components to this passage, meaning that the quantum physics understanding of this is the fact that quantum physics deals with particles. So when we want to fuse quantum physics with metaphysics, in the metaphysics component or explanation, we're going to correlate philosophy. So of course we got quantum physics, which deals with particles, and now we're dealing with philosophy. So fusing those two components together, we understand that the body itself produces electric charge and electrical currents through the heartbeat. So the fact that a person, like I said in another video before, if there is a person who is healing from a trauma, don't you know during that process, the pineal gland creates crystallized substances that releases particles of light in that person's environment that allow observation. Just by that shit being observed, it allows those particles to then collapse into physical or a more solid form. Because in the beginning stages, it is a wave. Well, I'm using quantum physics right now, y'all. It is a wave until a person is paying so much of attention to whatever it is that they want to focus on, that it then collapses into physical or a solid form that allows it to be seen and felt through the optical nerves. And then the optical nerves convert that energy into a wavelength that allows us to then see whatever it is that we choose to bring about from our observation. All that being said, when it comes to any form of technology or anything in life, everything needs a neutral component to allow electricity or to allow a current to pass through or become a wave band of continuous energy, as I would like to say, to make things simple. So what I typed in Google, I said, are clear quartz crystals used as an oscillator. Oscillator meaning a neutral component to allow electricity to function in a proper manner. And they basically said that the clear quartz crystal is being used for computers, smartphones, radios, digital watches and timers, medical equipment, automobiles, and GPS receivers. So that being said, follow with me. I promise you I ain't gonna make it boring. The pineal gland is also is used as a clear quartz crystal when it comes to transformation. And that clear quartz crystal allows neutrality to take place. It allows a positive charge and a negative charge to come together and attempt to sync with one another or bond with one another to create a solid form of an electrical current within each device or even within people like us. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, yes, the pineal gland is used as an oscillator, just like within any form of technology. The clear quartz crystal is used as an oscillator. Like I said before, an oscillator allows things to take place in a manner where it is direct and it is producing a potential change. Now that I'm back on this slide, when I asked, does our body heat alter technology? It says, yes, we alter technology and its functions in several ways. Many ways by showing battery performance. We can drain batteries, ladies and gentlemen, when we decide we want to alter our state of mind from being in a stressful state of mind to now becoming in a more relaxed state of mind. Don't you know that we release particles of light that collapse into physical form to alter our environment into whatever potential we want that environment to be? So we alter battery function, literally, with our body heat. And this shows y'all that the motherfuckers, when this COVID shit kicked off, what did they keep trying to do? They kept trying to check our temperature. Because guess what? People who are on a higher vibration does what? They emit a stronger heat signature out of their body because of their bioelectric field. That bioelectric field comes from the heartbeat. So don't you know that every time something is changed, that's why they say if you have a change of heart, you get what you want. Because that heartbeat creates a biofield around our body that then goes into the process of creating an electromagnetic field. That electromagnetic field produces a signature of observation that acts as a spectator. It filters out energy in our environment, and we can even expand its distance whenever we want to with imagination, because imagination is a frequency in which the average person cannot see. Yes, imagination produces gamma waves. When you see it in your head, it is at a higher vibration. This is why artists are the biggest threat to the matrix, because they can alter what people can see, therefore manipulating the optical nerves and creating and collapsing different wavelengths into people's reality, just based off seeing the shit, just based off observing the shit. It says that our body heat can literally alter the function of technology, meaning that let's say you got a motherfucker that live in Wyoming. This dude, he's healing from a traumatic wound of being molested. Yes. Let's say he has been molested and he decides that he wants to take the journey and heal from that particular trauma, aka lower frequency of light. So he's in Oklahoma. He doesn't realize that he lives maybe 40 minutes away from an Air Force base. Let's say the day that he heals from that trauma, The next day, he turns on the news and he realizes, hey, there was an airplane that blew up at the Air Force Base that's only 40 minutes away from where I live. But I realized through observation that I decided that I want to shift or to change a negative feeling and energy towards being a positive energy and feeling towards the trauma that I've been through. That's alchemy. That's using the component of alchemy that I bring about when it comes to using and fusing quantum physics and metaphysics together. So that form of alchemy then allowed this man to visualize or to see something exploding on the news. They didn't actually show the explosion, but he cuts on the news through all of his perception, through all of his growth. He was the one that seen this video. Now, this isn't for everyone. This is for his particular growth, his specific growth. So he realizes, damn, like a plane blew up, and the next thing I know, I'm trying to heal from this traumatic wound called molestation. And now this person has a greater potential of causing this explosion due to the fact that this person's electromagnetic field reverberated a lesser frequency that then threw off the positive and negative charge within that plane, within the functions of that plane, causing that plane to then combust, blow up, due to this person healing from that particular trauma. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the war has always been on people who are able to think. Because a person who is able to think has the greatest potential to manipulate the reality of themselves and others. When in reality, others don't exist without the acknowledgement of you. The only reason why other things exist in your reality, the person that I'm speaking to right now, is because the brain has to visually see things and interact with things in order for it to appear as real in a conscious reality. If the brain cannot perceive an image of it, it does not exist to the brain. But the brain can create imaginations within whatever single conscious person decides to do this. You can create imaginations that will be seen on the inside of your brain. You think you're making it up. It's called clairvoyance. You think you make those visions up in your head, but you're not. You're using your creative imagination that produces higher frequency waves. Imagination is higher frequency waves. And whatever it is that you create with your imagination and it manifests into physical reality, that means that the atomic level of the imagination that you've created, it collapses into physical reality, therefore becoming heavier, aka becoming a lower vibration, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, the physical body is a lower vibration. And a demon is what? A lower vibration. That is why in movies that pertain demons, the demon is always possessing the body, because the human body has already manifested. The human body is sin. So the demon comes along to bring about a lower or lesser vibrational characteristic that expresses a lower vibration. And that lower vibration is only to what? Observe, to pay attention to capture its negative characteristics so it could then transmute into a positive characteristic that allow it to then what? Manifest something into its reality. So ladies and gentlemen, we all need demons. A demon is only a lesser vibration, a lesser light that observes. So after it goes through that process of observing something, that characteristic of observation can then shift once you observe it as being what it is. And now it is at a higher vibration that can now pay attention to characteristics that was of that lower vibration. So yes, it's always a process of left and right, up and down, demonic and angelic. But there's always a neutral component that proves that everything has to be balanced. So like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, the pineal gland acts as an oscillator. An oscillator is a neutral component that allows vibration to take place in a continuum. A continuum is a current that allows consciousness to proceed, to continue. So even when it comes to technology, like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, most technology has a clear quartz crystal that balance out the positive and negative charge, giving it a electrical current that is fluidity. It is allowed to be used now because there is a stabilizer that allows it to transmute that electricity, allowing it to work, just like the pineal gland. Also, the pineal gland also produces your aura field, your perception. Your aura field is simply your perception. Everything that you perceive as being real or in action, it is perceived through the color of your aura field over your head. Yes, and that's what the pineal gland is for. So now that I'm saying these things, ladies and gentlemen, let's say that you got motherfucking Sarah. Let's say that she's in Texas and she's not too far away from this power plant. Let's say that this power plant has several explosions throughout the day. But 30 minutes away from Sarah, she doesn't realize this until she cut on the news. See, she needs some form of realization that shows her power through reverberation. Reverberation in the sense where she chooses to grow on the inside of her mind. That energy is then emitted from her body outwardly as a form of reverberation for that energy to then bounce back to her and what collapse with her and what bond with her and what communicate with her so that she can what realize what's going on in her environment. So as she realized what's going on in her environment, Sarah realizes that, damn, did I cause those explosions? Yes, Sarah, you did. Due to the fact that you decided to alter your consciousness from being in a low state, a demonic state, to now being in a higher state, a state in which you transitioned or changed into. Therefore, realizing, ladies and gentlemen, that the pineal gland creates crystallized particles that warp your reality dependent on how you feel. So yes, the war has always been with you, because you got to remember at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, you are the only one that exists. So all in all, ladies and gentlemen, when you heal from trauma, understand that you manipulate your whole existence, meaning that everything does matter when it comes to you and how you feel. Everything does matter because you are the only one that exists. And in order for you to not fucking go crazy and batshit crazy to end up in a psych ward, other physical beings exist as a characteristic of you, your past, and your present, so that the mind doesn't go crazy and unstable. Ladies and gentlemen, you are the fucking superhumans that the government has declared war on, and they pick with other countries forming a treaty so that they can trick you into thinking that it's other people from other countries. It's always been the people who decide to grow. Y'all have a good one.